Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the AMS Live, presented to you by Family First Life. I'm Shawn. This is Bridget Reimer. We're going to kick it off with the numbers first and then go into the Q&A session.
Awesome. So starting out, we have week 42 for IULs issue paid. We have Jimmy B with 127, Mary D with 354, Stephen G with 656, Christopher F with 689, Bradley A with 1,175, Jeffrey E with 1,230, Lewis M with 1,251, Grayson H with 2,514, James K with 2,876, Brad H with 3,098, Brigitte G with 6,777, Robert I with 6,970, Michael T with 10,460, and Jack Y at the top here with 12,522, bringing our weekly total for IULs to 50,699. Next up, we have issue paid annuities. These are annuities from October 10th to October 16th. We have Helena V at 10,000, Shelly M at 10,000, James K at 15,015, Gary T with 18,263, Salvatore S with 19,740, Jason L with 25,000, Edward H with 26,592, Tyler S with 27,156, John N with 34,971, Nadine L with 40,165, Alan C with 43,173, Reggie A with 53,953, James K with 59,682, Rochelle N with 60,000, Dionisio with 73,000, Wayne C was 74,450, Linda L was 75,000, Chris C was 78,473, Nicholas L with 100,000, Keith C with 100,000, Liz B with 102,596, Jose R with 102,841, Galen W and Shaniqua E with the split on 120,578, Antonio R and Brigitte G with the split on 148,802, John N with 162,808, Chris H with 179,999, Brad A with 200,000, and Brigitte G at the top here with 241,213, bringing our weekly total to about $2.2 million.
I'm glad I don't have to do that.
Yeah, next time it's you.
Yeah, there you go.
When that list doubles.
Well, that is good. That is the highest annuity issued was 240, and we did 2.3 million. So you see the issue paid count gets higher, which is always good. I think our penetration, when we ran the numbers, is a little less than 10%. So out of the contracted Family First Life agents who have written a life insurance policy, less than 10%, let's call it, I think it was around 9%, have issued an annuity. So it shows you the potential we have for growth here. We want to issue over $100 million of annuity premium this year. Right. So we need to average about $2.5 million per week to get there, to finish out the fourth quarter. So let's keep pressing. We usually do very well in the fourth quarter. And we do that by listening to these calls and submitting to Ask a Specialist. That's really what it comes down to. So Q&A session. Bridget, we have 3 more questions for this week.
We do, yep. So the first one up is a MedSup question. This is from Katie Knight. Wants to know why sell MedSups and how does it actually help an individual?
Yeah, good question. And I think our MedSup penetration is lower than our annuity penetration, right? So MedSup, you're eligible when you're 65, assuming a couple of factors that you've paid into you'll be eligible for. So it's something like 96% of Americans who have Medicare, all right, so Part A and B paying for basic coverage in a hospital, basic coverage for a doctor. This is part of our Social Security reform, the idea that we wanted to make sure we took care of the elderly, the reform back in the early 20th century. So it provides these basic necessities for our seniors, for our retirees. Soon after, Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage plans came out. What those are exactly what they say. They're supplemental plans. So they add to Part A and Part B coverage, providing you additional coverage that you would need when you're retired. Because we're retired, so let's take my mom for advantage. My mom has an Americo Plan G, and it provides extra coverage for her at a very predictable monthly rate. So you sell it because it's a necessity. It's a commodity. It's like auto insurance. The coverage is the same across all carriers. So a Plan G with Mutual of Omaha is the same as a Plan G with America, is the same as a Plan G with Transamerica. You get the point. So all the coverage is identical for the plans. Now plans can vary slightly, just like you can choose different coverage in your auto. I want a $250,000, $500,000 split limit, and you can change your deductible. Plans with Medicare supplements are a commodity. When someone is turning 65, they're going to be purchasing a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage plan. So why should you sell them? It's free money, and you're retaining the client. Okay, these things pay renewals year after year after year. So you know, they're not like traditional life insurance. Certainly not like annuities where you can get $8,000, $10,000, $20,000 up front. But you're also basically taking an order. So for those who have never sold it before, if you have your health license, contact America, contact Mutual of Omaha, get your appointment to sell their Medicare supplements, and just sell Plan G. And I would just keep it simple. When someone is turning 65, you say, hey, you're going to need a Medicare supplement plan. Let me show you what I've got. You can email medsup@familyfirstlife.com. They can help you run quotes. And then for people who are coming up on the anniversary date or an open enrollment, which is the October 15th, it's just started all the way to the end of December, then you can shop the plan for them. So if you have someone who's, say, 69 years old, 70 years old, they're already going to be on MedSup or Med Advantage, you can ask them if you can run some rates to do some comparisons.
To see if you can save them money.
And
you're already in the home, so
you're
tacking
in the home.
on.
And you have clients, so it's a great idea for a filler. Let's say you have 3 appointments on a Tuesday. You're hoping to get more. You just weren't successful enough. Maybe you didn't get many leads that week. Maybe you just didn't get a hold of that many people. You got your door knocks, things like that. Why don't you go through your CRM and look up everyone who's over 65 who's a current client of yours who lives in that city? You could probably visit 9 different people and say, I'm going to give you a MedSup quote. Pretty simple. So that's why you build it up. You write 5 policies a month over the next 5 years. You're going to be building up a $60,000 to $100,000 recurring revenue stream. So that's why people do it.
Awesome. Thanks. Next one is an IUL question from Anita Robertson. She wants to know, how do you structure and explain an IUL for a teacher who is retiring in 5 years? Yeah,
that's a good question. IULs are great retirement supplement plans, but normally you need a lot of time to build up. We gave the analogy talking about the jet. How heavy is the jet, meaning how healthy is the client? Are they not so healthy, or are they very healthy?
How much runway they have.
And how much runway, and then how much fuel, which is the premium. So with someone who only has 5 years to retirement, it'd probably be very difficult to fund an IUL in the way that we traditionally would. But that being said, we've done a lot of training about how that IUL can satisfy some of their long-term care needs. It can also cover income gaps, and it can also cover legacy planning. So what I'd suggest is just go to Ask a Specialist for any specific IUL scenarios, especially this one with the teachers retiring in 5 years. And go to Ask a Specialist, choose the IUL tab, and give all the information, hit submit, and Kim will give you a response, usually within 24 hours, on how that can benefit them.
Well, and especially for IULs, because unlike annuities, we don't need to know anything about health. But with IULs, it all is dependent on someone's health. It's still life insurance. And so those are questions that have to be answered to properly propose a product or a plan. So that's what Ask a Specialist helps with. So definitely use that tool. Last question here is a annuity question from John. He wants to know, can we roll stock options from Procter & Gamble?
So this is very similar to, living in Seattle, working here. I had a lot of clients that were Boeing employees, and they would get Boeing stock options. So these are usually NSOs, non-qualified stock options. So it's just a form of pay. The employer gets to write it off. You get a strike price, usually the lower of the 2 points for the year. And none of those mechanics matter. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you having an employee match. So for our company, we do an employee match. So you maximize, if we say, Bridget, you can take 3% of your income and get a match, you take 3% of your income and get a match, right? That's the same thing with employee stock option plans. So they get a very good purchase price on those options, so they're really incentivized to take the options. It's kind of like not taking your match. They're definitely going to take it. And what happens is now this person with Procter & Gamble, they go forward, they're 60 years old now, they have a lot of their retirement with Procter & Gamble because they got really good buys on that stock. Can we roll them into annuity? Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, absolutely. And really what it does is it helps that client in a couple of ways. It helps them in the normal ways, taking risk off the table, eliminating fees, eliminating worry, like we always talk about. But in a more significant way, because when you have one stock, a single stock, you are exposed to something called idiosyncratic risk. I know that sounds like a complicated word, but it's you could call it single stock risk. You know what I always say is say smart things when people think you're smart. But if you just memorize that term, idiosyncratic risk, anytime you sit down with a retiree who has a lot of money in one stock, they are extremely vulnerable. So if I have Procter & Gamble, but I have 40 other stocks that my retirement's invested in, and there's a scandal, the Procter & Gamble person gets caught for embezzlement, the CEO, what's going to happen to Procter & Gamble's stock? It's going to go down. That person could lose 20% of their stock retirement overnight, literally overnight with some bad news. Procter & Gamble has a patent that expires, they lose money overnight. If that is representing a blended, diversified portfolio,
it's okay.
They're not going to feel the hit. So when you run into clients, and some of you live in areas where maybe you're in Atlanta and there's employees with Coca-Cola, maybe you're in Seattle with Boeing, and they have a lot of these stock options. You will run into these homes of people filling out leads, and they work for these companies that it's pretty common, like Procter & Gamble, to offer stock options. Use that term, idiosyncratic risk. It's the lack of diversification. It's the exposure of a single stock risk. And we're always going to have market risk if you're in the market, but you're going to have single stock risk, idiosyncratic risk, if you let yourself have your retirement tied to one single stock. I mean, think about it. It's nothing for a stock to go down 2% in one day.
Right.
Well, if you have $300,000, you just lost $6,000 in a day.
It's like the saying, all your eggs in one basket.
All your eggs in one basket.
Literally all your eggs are one basket when it's tied to one single stock.
So yes, we can roll those over. Most of them are qualified funds, so those funds would just be cashed out and rolled over. There would be no tax implications because it would go from a 401k to
qualified
an IRA.
rollover. Yep. Perfect. Well, that is all our questions for this week. Check back next week for more questions. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Hello everybody, David Allen with Family First Life Shepherds and Servants. I wanted to talk to you about a close I had about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago where I was able to help a family that was referred to me. But what's interesting is even though it was a referral, I still run the system that we have. So for example, I'm still going to remind them of what we do: mortgage protection, life insurance, long-term planning and retirement options so that they're able to never run out of money. I'm going to remind them by showing them this sheet that they have lots of different options and we have lots of different companies at our disposal that we're able to use for them. I'm also going to continue to pull out an inventory sheet, even though I may or may not need everything in there. And I've got a couple of arrows on this one because in this particular case, this was a person who wanted to make sure that their money was going to be available for long-term for their family, for legacy planning. So the question we asked on the inventory sheet, what do you have to offset the cost of your mortgage when you die? She is somebody that didn't have a mortgage, but she had a lot of funds that have been secured and grown over the years, many years, many decades, and she wanted to make sure it's going to be there. So we talked about that so I can figure out what exactly she wanted and where I could possibly help. So I'm going to ask some specific questions. One of the questions I will ask a client 100% of the time is, how young are you? Now you notice I didn't ask how old are you, which is the default that's instinctive for us. I ask how young they are because I don't want them to feel like that they're going to pass away or be gone tomorrow. I want them to feel like they're going to be here for a while. So how young are you? Makes them feel a little bit better. It also gets a little bit of a smile out of their face, and it causes them to relax during this conversation about their funds, which to me is very important. Another question that I'm going to ask is, do they need these funds to live on? Are these monies that they need to draw on every single month, or are they looking just to protect it for long term? And then the last question I ask is, what's more important to you? Accumulation? Are you looking to leave a legacy for your future generations? Or are you looking to receive an income stream, which is pretty much answered by the second question, but I ask the question again because I want to make sure that they understand it. I'm then going to go through my T account that I use to compare where they're at now, which is normally, typically speaking, in the market, versus what we can do for them, which is safe money retirement and an FIA. So I'll talk about things like market loss, I'll talk about fees, I'll talk about bonuses, I'll talk about lifetime income and the importance of that if that was something that the client said that's important to me, I need it. In this case, it was not, so I don't have to talk about it, but I will definitely talk about the legacy money, and then I'm gonna have to review their statements to see where they're at so I can compare it against what our products are. And what we know with FIAs are, you always have a legacy. Whatever's there is going to be able to be left to your future generations. And then I'll talk about the responsibility for the account. The brokerage rep may be the responsible party because you're putting them in charge of your money, but with us, there's no risk of loss, so we're able to help them to make some good decisions. The next thing I'm going to do is actually walk through what happened with this particular client. The client is actually 87 years old or young, if I stay consistent with what I started with here. The client does not need the money. All she wants to do is figure out how to protect it for family legacy, so for future generations are going to have these monies and she can eliminate that market loss. She wants to protect about $1 million for it, which is fantastic. It's a great opportunity for us to do some really good things. So the next thing that I'm going to do is my research. So what does that look like? I start by reviewing with a theme because this is the company we use for most of our clients. But in this particular case, the client is not eligible due to her age. So I actually had to now ask a specialist. This was new to me. I didn't have that in my old company. I just kind of fumbled on my own. But here, this is a phenomenal thing that Family First Life and our AMS team has for us. So I actually reached out to Jack because I had never used it before, and Jack referred me over to Shawn. So what his team did is they went out and they found other companies that would accept these funds and actually take care of the client for us. They ran these illustrations for me, and then they helped me get an appointment with the other companies so that I can actually take care of the client. What's nice about that is they're showing me firsthand that they are truly a one-stop shop for everything we need that we cannot find ourselves, and they're happy to train and coach so that we can go out and be very well prepared to do what we need to do. And of course, if they're needed to be on the phone, they have people that'll take that phone call when we're sitting in front of the client. So let's be transparent. If I close with them, they're going to ask for 10% of the commission. That's how they get paid for the assistance that they do for us. So what happened in this particular case, what did I present? I presented two different products. One product was from a company by the name of Legacy, which is an Americo company. They were actually able to receive $1 million of these funds for us and be able to protect it the way we want. The other company was Guggenheim. They were able to accept the other $400,000 in what's called a Meaike, or multi-year guaranteed annuity product. So in both cases, we have some very strong accumulation. The money's 100% protected. And if this client needs any of this money, even though she said she didn't, we're able to show her that we're able to grab penalty-free money with no cost on those distributions if she's got to pull the money out. So from that, we're able to take care of the client, make sure the money's protected, future generations have what this person wants to be able to leave for them, and they're perfectly protected. Thank you to the AMS team for helping with this client. I'm David Allen with Family First Life Shepherds and Service. Let's make it a great day.
Hey everyone, Shawn Ruggiero here, Family First Life, AMS. I'm here with John Gavin. John, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada, yes. Right? The land of no income tax.
That's right, exactly.
Here at FFL USA's new office, which is a great setup, really, really nice setup they have here. So thank you, Andrew, for having us. I grabbed you real quick, kind of this impromptu video. Wanted to talk to you about the flurry of new annuities that you issued. Just had one for about $500,000, and you just wrote another one for about $250,000. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about those two annuities, how you're continually finding them, and bringing to the forefront? What problems are you solving? What are you using to get these statements?
Sure. So the first one was actually a referral, and it was someone saying, "Hey, my dad's retired. He's got these pensions set up. What can you do? And they sent me the pension statements. I looked at them, and I looked at what his payout was going to be, and how he planned on accessing the money. And so what I did was I did an illustration on a PE10 on the withdrawing that same amount that you get for the pension, and showing that the interest credited would be about equal to what he was withdrawing. And so his pension was going to disappear once he passed away.
Gotcha.
And this was something that would actually continue. He could take the same amount of withdrawals on it and still have the principal balance saved almost till he dies, 90-something years old.
Now, was this a Boeing employee?
No, it was not. No.
Okay, because I know you've done a few of those, as I have over in Northwestern Seattle. Gotcha. So referral, they had a pension, so they had some sort of defined benefit plan, right? That, okay, this amount of money after this many years of work, you will get paid X percent, or you can take, and that's pensions are fewer and fewer. In fact, I just saw Jordan Soper forward me an article. I haven't validated it yet, so if this is incorrect, I'll retract my statement. But General Electric has ceased.
I saw the same thing.
Okay, ceased pensions, right? So, and that happens. Speaking of Boeing, they no longer offer pensions, right? So, you're going to find more and more people who they don't have the option of pension. If they do, they're going to say, hey, here's lump sum. What do you want to do with it? And the way that's set up, just like you saw, the spouse. So real quick, as kind of a learning point, if you take lifetime income off of a pension versus lifetime income off of any fixed index annuity with an income rider, you're usually not going to win on that life.
Exactly.
However, you'll have no flexibility, and the spouse usually gets 50%, or it's a very huge deduction if you want it to continue for their life.
Exactly.
So is that the one you issued for $500,000?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So PE 10, right? And something I like to say is you're arguably the #1 producer. You, Danielle, David Powell, we got a few people, but millions and millions of dollars. Matt Smith's been on fire lately, and you're in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Bonuses are 1%.
They're not very high. We can't sell out the bonus at all.
Can't sell the bonus, and I bring that up because that's not how we sell.
No, I bring it up as a feature afterwards. And by the way,
if we close this by the end of the month, they're going to give you a 1% transfer bonus.
Exactly.
Another annuity for $250,000. Tell us about the client, what the problem was, and how you solved it.
It was two older clients, both 80 years old.
Okay.
They had about $688,000 altogether. They actually had some annuities. They had one that they got in 2004. They put like 600-something thousand into it, and they get $3,500 a month. They have been drawing off that ever since then. So that's permanent income. That was great. They said, hey, this is awesome. Wouldn't do a thing with this. Just leave this, put this aside. They had another annuity with MetLife they'd just gotten.
So MetLife variable annuity, or do they have a line of fixed
There's an index annuity. No, it's New York Life, excuse me. It's New York Life index annuity, yeah. So they just got that. So I got that in July. Couldn't do anything with that, okay? But I looked at their brokerage account, and they had about $290,000 in their brokerage account. And I asked them, I said, does all this market volatility make you nervous? And they said, no. I said, okay. I said, what if you lost, what if, 6 months from now, this lost 30%? Would that impact your livelihood? And they said, no. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
And this was actually over the
phone. Were they being snarky?
No, they were not.
They understood.
Legitimate,
Okay.
So this was over the phone. And I'm like, all right, I'm not getting anywhere. So I just said, hey, why don't I do this? I'm going to be out that way on Monday. Let's sit down. I'm going to bring some little bit of information for you. I'm going to show you how you can remove all the risk from the market, because there's a lot there that you should be aware of.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you how to eliminate all the fees. And I said, okay, sure. So I went out there. It was not the ideal appointment. We didn't have a table to sit at. We were sitting in smaller chairs than this right here. I had all my stuff here. They gave me their statement. I was looking over the statements. So I had their statements prior to. They sent me those. And so looking at their statements, they were in PACCAR. They were in some stocks that could be pretty volatile. Yeah. They were also in some funds that lost 75% in 2008. Wow. And so they weren't in them then. So they didn't feel that pain. Right. So they had a million something back then. And when they lost a little bit, they only lost like 125,000. So that pain wasn't there. But when I brought up online to show them what these holdings, these stocks and these funds did 10 years ago, I said, we're in the market where that's going to happen again. Every indication is showing that's going to happen again. And once they saw that, I was like, I know you have plenty of money. I know you got permanent income. I know you got the other annuity that's fixed. You're not going to lose any money there. But does it make any sense at all to give money back to the market just by leaving it there a little bit longer? Because you're 80. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you don't have the time horizon for recovery. And I told them, I said, if you guys are 60 years old, I'd say, hey, great job. You guys got this money safe here. You can play with this money here, but you're 80. So let's preserve it all. And so it took a little bit. The wife was more aware of the risk, but everything was in her name. And the husband was like, oh, you know, we got plenty of money, we got this, we got that. And so I just focused on the wife. I said, hey, it sounds to me that you're more concerned about the risk than he is. And then I dove inside and showed him some of the fees that they were paying, because she said, I know how much fees I'm paying, and I don't like it.
Right.
Well, she knew it was on the statement. She didn't know it was internal. And when I showed her there was internal fees, then she got even more upset, because she didn't know what she was paying out here. Then we showed it here, and she's like, okay. And then she, you know, then she became more engaged.
Yeah.
And then when I showed them the agility for that one.
Yeah, no fees.
And so, and I said, hey, look, there's no fees whatsoever. So we're completely eliminating the fees. We're completely eliminating the risk. And when the market does bounce back in a couple of years, you're going to gain significantly. But also, you have this death benefit. You have a bonus on top of the death benefit if taken out over 5 years.
Yeah.
And so then the husband perked up because it's in her name. He's the beneficiary.
Yeah.
So now he's paying attention.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so after that, it's fairly easy just to show them what fees they're actually paying, showing what risk they're actually at, because the market does turn. Their stuff was pretty risky. That car lost 75% in 2008.
Yeah.
So did one of their other funds. And so once they see that, then they're like, okay, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
Why give any of it back? Even if we have enough, why
Right,
give any of it back?
right, exactly.
No.
And that's funny, because it's a perfect segue, right? So someone was willing to take loss. They understood market
Yeah,
risk. They understood that more times than not, the market's going to gain before it goes down.
Yeah.
They absorbed that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But fees will get at you,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah, I
Oh.
shouldn't be. John Bogle, late founder of Vanguard, says, and I say this all the time, but you can't control the market, but you can control what you pay.
Yeah.
Right. And
Absolutely.
so FIAs are an excellent alternative. Even Meaike when you're 80 years old. But and when John's talking about fees, he's talking about expense ratios, load fees, 12B-1. These fees are oftentimes found inside managed mutual funds. Are you being a securities expert and going out there and telling what to sell and what to buy? Absolutely not, but it's public information. So submit to Ask a Specialist, and we can look at a statement and say, hey, by the way, these 5 funds, here's the fees that are associated with them. Was the client even aware of that?
Yeah.
And almost universally, they're not aware of that.
No, they're not.
And that's not okay.
And I just took their funds where they held the most of their money in.
You're right, the ones that have
biggest
those large
ones.
chunks. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I do the same
and
thing.
then just showed them that. She's always showing me her statement going, I don't like paying this fee. I'm like, what about this one here?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's looking, I brought it out, I'm like, that's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
much bigger.
Yeah.
Internal ones.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, my friend.
You
Good
betcha.
job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Big push for the end of the year, and 2020 will be the biggest year of
Fourth
all.
quarter. There you
Yep.
go.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone. Appreciate it. Take care.
Hi, Kim Meaike here, the Director of IUL Development. Today I want to talk to you about the IUL Trifold. So, what is that golden question when you're in the home with your clients? Well, that question is going to be, when you're asking them, do they have any retirement? If they say they don't have a 401k or they don't have an IRA, then they might be a candidate for an IUL. So, let's go ahead and look. So, we're going to do the 6 reasons you should have an IUL. First of all, when you're sitting down with a client, do you want to supplement your retirement with tax-free income? 2, are you concerned about the taxation in the future? 3, if you don't want negative returns. 4, if you have maxed out qualified contributions. And 5, if you're a business and looking for insure key employees. And lastly, do you want to leave a legacy for your loved ones? If your client has asked that, said yes to any of those 6, they should have an IUL. All right, next, let's look at how the point-to-point indexing works. So you will show your client this graph and show how there's a 0% floor and they have the capacity growth up to 15%. So if you look at if you're going to invest in the market, on the red line, that's just going to be your average. So you're taking those dips. If you look at, there's a 16% dip. But if you have an IUL, you would lose nothing. So overall, you're going to be growing with the market. All right, and then you're going to move down to what is Index Universal Life. And you're going to talk to your clients about the life insurance policy first, which provides a tax-free death benefit. It does have fees, so make sure you have those ready for your clients to see. Also, your policy's cash value will grow tax deferred, and you can take the policy loans tax-free before you're 59.5. You can also create income tax-free through policy loans, and you can provide a tax-free death benefit that avoids probate. And you can kind of just show them these graphs. Now you're going to close and look at how do the fees impact their retirement. So, for example, if they have $1 million invested, 8% assumed annualized return over 30 years, you can see how a 1% annual fee affects them, the 2% and the 3%, and really just show how that's going to affect them. All right, lastly, if you look on the back, you can customize these brochures. Where you can access this trifold is on fflams.com under the marketing tab. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Kim, K-I-M, at fflams.com. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thanks for letting me get on the advanced market sales. First of all, this is my son got this for me, Sizer.
Always be closing.
Tell me he doesn't pay attention. He was like, I got it.
He knows what's up.
He knows what's up.
Yeah.
But it's also marketing, retargeting. He was like, I was showing him Glenn Ross a while back.
Yeah.
Then he must have went on and watched his little video, and then he got it from me. I was like, got it in the mail. I was like, did you get a sweatshirt? I'm like, always be closing. It's outstanding. So, all right. So my piece real quick. Take us back. I want to take us back. We launched a company, mortgage final expense. We get it. We're cranking. We're going to continue to do that. You know, Shawn, Bridget, Nicole, the whole crew over there, Mike, they did a really good job of educating people and empowering them to sell fixed index annuities. Okay,
Right.
I didn't know what an FIA was, and we really were able to. And I think what's the most important thing for me that we get out of this is that we're really literally protecting people's retirements. I guess forget about everything else. And this is how I want to get to this contest. It's awesome. But the one that helps the most people wins.
Yeah.
That just doesn't change. They're products that protect your money. We're not pretending to turn it into something it's not. And they're sold purely because the person says, I don't want to lose anything. I want to be treated the best that I can with the product I get, but I just can't lose it. It's that saver investor, right? Our clients are, I can't say it enough. Or, I'm an investor. Okay, then if we take your money and put it into something, sir or ma'am, you're okay if you lose it. We don't want to lose it either, but if you lose some of it, a lot of it, all of it, you're okay with that. No, then you're a saver. Investing is gambling. It's investing. Now you can do moderate, you can change it, but at the end of the day, Mike, you still have to have the ability to say, I want to lose some money, or I can lose some money. I don't want to lose any of it. I can lose some money. Right. We say we're going to protect it, give you some upside, and I'm certainly not going to train you in the product or the technical aspects of it. Here's what I know. You're not going to lose anything. And I'm going to make sure, because you don't want to lose anything, we match up with where you want to be. So for me, that's been a big deal. So this Beat the Clock contest that we have, it's for agencies, and you can see, by the way, I love the cars, and I love the various colors and the checker flag, but you can see an age, your producer level's for life, right? You hit your producer level, you're good, you have it. Like we do the best we can. We revamped this a couple times this past year and really got it right finally, because we're not perfect. And kind of went and said, let's try this. Life, we got it. We're like, here's what you can have, keep your renewals, go. And this was a new deal for us, trying to make sure everybody got paid, built-in overrides, did all that. But this Beat the Clock thing, when you look at Tri-State, right? They just rolled over 12 million, right, Mike? So it shows you that 7% for the agency on their way to 24 million, 7.5, and it shows you how close a lot of West Coast is, 8.3 million. So almost on the way to 12. So it's a nice tracking tool. Are they able to see this somewhere? I don't need to hold it up or something.
Nope,
it's 2019, they can see
right.
it. So, because it was a long time ago, we'd be doing a Ustream, and I'd be holding it up.
And they still wouldn't be able to
see it. And they still wouldn't be able to see it. And I'd be like, you understand the contest, right? And they're like, I can't even hear you, because you remember you used to go out all the time? Yeah, it was terrible. So what I wanted to say to everybody is please take advantage of the rest of this year, because at the end of the day, there's so many things that happen year end. But I've said this since I got in the life insurance business. People start thinking about family a lot around this time of year, whether it's holiday, not, whatever they celebrate, they don't celebrate. End of the year, it gets colder in some of the parts of the country. People just start thinking more. It becomes a family time. It's year end, the new year, and they start looking at what they have. And especially in the time we're in, we don't know. And I'm not gonna hypothesize. I just know that we're in a time where there could be some turbulence. We don't know what's going to happen economically, and if the client is waking up in the middle of the night thinking, I only have X, or I have X, but it's all I got, I don't want to lose it. That's who we are and what we do. So this Beat the Clock is really just a contest to who will help the most people protect the most amount of money. That's all it is. And so when they go to bed at night, they know where their money's at. They know they're not going to lose any. And yes, they're provided some nice benefits on an upside, but they're guaranteed not to lose. To me, that's like when I could guarantee you, if your mortgage is 200 grand and you take out 200, and I get you a $200,000 policy, and you do die in the next 30 years, I can guarantee you, if you choose to, the beneficiary, you can pay your mortgage off and remain here because I will provide you enough money. This is all about guarantees, and I guarantee you, the harder you work, the harder the agency moves, the more commission everybody gets. That's what we're all about. You know, we want to give away as much as we can to the agent. So I appreciate letting me get on the AMS. Thank you. Have a great weekend, better week. See you guys.